Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Tom Rivera, and we're in the Fowl Library at Cal State San Bernardino. It's 1 o'clock, and it's January the 9th, 2015. And our guest this afternoon is Mr. Bob Carrasco. Bob, welcome. Welcome to our interview session, and welcome to Cal State. We are delighted that you're with us this afternoon. And what I'd like to talk about, Bob, is a little bit about your parents and where they came from. And then secondly, mostly about you and your participation in softball and baseball in the South Colton area and some of the teams that you played with, along with some of the activities that you did as a manager in setting up a league that was very functional back in those days. And then we'll talk a little bit also about what you're doing now. Is that it? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Why don't we get started then? Tell us a little bit about your mom and dad. Where did they come from?
My mom came from, born in Morenci, Arizona.
Where?
Morenci, Arizona. It's a mining town.
Uh-huh.
And my dad was born in Shafter, Texas.
Okay.
And they met in Coachella Valley. And my dad used to work on the farms. And my mother's parents had a farm with their brothers. And they were truckers. They picked the fruit in the afternoon, and in the evening it was in LA at the market.
You mentioned that they met in Coachella. How old was your dad when he met your mom in Coachella?
I have no idea. I know he was 20, I don't know, I was 26 when he got married.
Uh-huh.
And my mother was 19.
Okay. Okay.
So I couldn't be able to tell you.
And you mentioned before that your dad was 14 years old when he came to the area.
And he was about 15, and they
Uh-huh.
brought him from he was out of Texas to work at the cold ice plant. His dad was a miner, and we're in New Mexico. He's the one that put the charges
Uh-huh.
for the mines, and he died at an early age because at that time they didn't have the respirators. They didn't have anything.
That's your grandfather.
My grandfather.
That's your grandfather.
He died.
And what mine was he working at? Do you remember?
No, he was just the mines are in San Francisco. That's what he did.
Okay.
He just set the charges
Mm-hmm.
in the mines. So that's what he died from, not from the charges, from the dust.
And then your dad traveled to Coachella.
Yeah.
Met your mom there in Coachella.
Yep. My dad was still, my grandpa was still here.
He was.
Yeah, then they came, they settled in Colton.
What year did they settle in Colton?
I have no idea.
Más o menos.
I would say 38, 39.
In the late 30s.
Yeah.
In the late 30s. And where did they live in Colton, Bob?
They lived on O Street. I can just barely remember the house. It was about 3 houses, stores, from Esteban's store, Esperanza,
Oh, 7th and O.
7th and O.
Yeah, 7th and O.
Between 7th and O,
Uh-huh.
there was a block between there and 7th Street in the middle.
Right.
That's where they first lived.
Oh, this is where they first lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did they live there?
I had no idea, but then my dad bought a house on 675 Westell when they started selling the houses, which are only 1 bedroom,
Uh-huh.
1 living room, and a kitchen.
Uh-huh. How old were you when you moved to the new house?
Man. I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 maybe.
Oh, you were still a kid, little
I
kid.
was still a kid, yes. I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
you were 5 years old or so,
I was
6
still a
maybe.
little kid, yeah.
Yeah, when you moved over to, was it K Street?
Yeah, to L.
L Street. And that barrio was known as,
Well, we used to kid it, everybody asked where you're from. And you couldn't tell we didn't have a name, so I'm from Beverly Hills, for the Cerro, you know.
why did they call it Beverly Hills?
Because it was on a hill.
Uh-huh.
You know, the hill's up here, and then it comes down, and then you have a lot of selva, then it comes down some more,
Uh-huh.
and it goes the tracks and it's flat.
Right,
And then the Paloma Sea goes down some more.
right.
It goes like this.
So the Cement Mountain,
Pardon?
Cement Mountain was next to you then.
Right at the base of it.
Uh-huh.
There was a field in front of it, around it,
Uh-huh.
and they used to grow wheat there, and then they had trucks go up the hill, and they had blasted rocks up there.
Again, Cement Mountain, the Portland Cement Company.
Aren't that called Portland Cement?
And you go down the hill, there was a field there, and then your neighborhood was in that area.
Right.
And because you had a hill, they call it Beverly Hills.
That's right.
The
we did.
barrio of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, just call it Beverly Hills, not Barrio, it's Beverly Hills. Now it's culture, you put
Yeah.
a Barrio Beverly Hills.
The barrio of
Now it's
Beverly Hills.
sell for more money.
And tell me, why did your mom and dad move to Colton?
Well, 'cause my dad was working at the Pacific Food Express,
Okay.
and that was a time when they used to ice the cars. And of course, the refrigerated trucks took care of that. And they used to work like seasonal work. And when they bring in the cops from the valley, put ice on him
Yeah.
here in San Valley.
So the ice plant, the Pacific Food Express, that used to ice the boxcars,
Uh-huh.
and they would put vegetables and fruit in those boxcars and take them all over the country.
Yeah,
And your dad got a job with the Pacific Food Express.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loaded the blocks of ice were 300 pounds.
Hmm.
Big old blocks. The guys would handle them with a fork, with some tongs.
Yeah.
And they know how to handle it because I couldn't even move one of those.
Yeah.
But they would get him and turn him around.
Anyway, Bob, I asked you about your dad coming to and mom coming to Colton. You mentioned in possibly the late 30s.
Mhm.
And did your dad immediately start working for the PFE or for
Well,
the ice?
he worked for the PFE since he was what, 15 years old. That's what his dad bought him for. And it was just seasonal work. And then they would get, the season was over, they'd be laid off, and they would go work in Coachella at the dates.
Oh, so they would travel back and forth
Yeah.
to the ice,
Yeah,
to the PFE, and then back to Coachella, and then back to the PFE.
yeah.
So he must have he did it for a long time then.
Well, let's put it this way, he closed the plant. He was the last guy to close the plant. In fact, he was the only guy when they closed it. And I couldn't believe it when they would move him and another guy were going to move to Phoenix, to an ice plant over there. And my dad didn't have to go because he had 1 year to serve. And the other guy had 5 years to go. And they told the guy, you either go to Phoenix or you lose your seniority. So the guy didn't want to leave Colton, so he lost his seniority. My dad stayed home.
What was the name of that partner of your dad's partner? Do you remember?
Manuel Beltran.
Manuel Beltran, okay.
Beltran, right?
Yes.
Beltran was. So he stayed here. Him and my dad were the last two people there.
Oh, so the PFE was closing, the ice
They
plant was
closed.
closing?
Yeah, it was closed. Just
It was closing?
They kept it
What year do
moving.
you remember?
Oh,
58
I
or
don't-
so? 58
How
or so?
were we? Will you guys remember?
Yeah.
Grandpa?
About 58, 58.
Yeah, well, it was a
when they
long time.
closed it, yeah.
Because the kids went over there to the closing.
Uh-huh.
My dad showed them around how they made the ice and all
Yeah.
that.
No, you're pointing over there, and who is there over there that you're pointing to? That's your daughter, Elena, your oldest daughter.
Yeah, that's the one.
Welcome, Elena. It's good to see you. Yeah, but anyway, it was 58 or so when they closed the ice plant.
Yeah, and then they told him to stay home and he'd get his check I believe, every 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
from the Pacific Food Express
Mhm.
for a whole year till he turned 65.
Mhm.
Then he retired.
Okay.
So I could not believe that sweet deal that he got, but it was true.
Yeah.
He said, you stay home, your check? I couldn't believe it, but he got it.
But he started working early then, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
at 15, and then coming
15.
to Colton part-time, going back to Coachella part-time, coming back to Colton for 15 years until he was hired on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, most of the time was hired like seasonal. And, the longer you stay, the better chance you had of staying on the job.
Yeah. And what did he do at the ice plant? What was his specific job?
His job was various jobs. Some jobs he would put the ice inside the boxcars. Other job that he had, he would make the blocks of ice. Blocks of ice are 300 pounds of dry ice. And they put them up in cubes, and then when they put them in a chute, they come down out of a chute, they get tongs and put them inside the
Boxcar?
boxcars.
Uh-huh.
But it takes all in the risk.
Yeah.
So those guys were very good.
They were very skilled in being able to operate and handle the chunks of ice and put them at the appropriate place.
Right.
Now, were the boxcars full of fruit or vegetables?
They had rest food
Or-
that was
or-
picked in the valley, like
Oh.
El Centro, Nino. They had to ship it to the market.
Oh, so
LA.
the boxcar had product in them,
Mhm.
and then they would come to the PFE, and the PFE would load them with ice so they can travel all over the country.
Right.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that. I'm curious because you're a baseball player. You've always been a baseball player. Now, was your dad a ball player?
Yes, he was.
What did he play? Where did he play?
It's back in Texas, but he quit playing when they brought him here to work.
And what little town was in Texas that he place?
Isleta, Texas.
¿Cómo?
Isleta, Texas.
Isleta, Texas. Now, where is Isleta located?
Isleta is right side of El Paso. They used to have a big mission there for the Indians.
Uh-huh.
And Isleta is now, it's just a name that exists there because El Paso took it over.
Ah, okay, okay. So it's become part of the
yeah.
city of El Paso.
Oh, yeah,
also.
just ate it up.
And he was there until he was 15, then came and worked in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he met your mom in
Probably in Coachella.
Coachella?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they had a farm over there.
Mm-hmm. And what did they grow in the farm?
Well, I guess tomatoes, chiles, onions, whatever grows in the valley. Lots of stuff grows in the valley.
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah. And of course, I guess you wouldn't know because you weren't born yet, right?
Yeah, I wasn't there yet. But I know what there was there because my uncles had farms.
Uh-huh.
That's what they. It'd be a shame to go see their farm because a lot of times, a specific example, the onions, they'd have a price on it. It was easier to just put the disc of the property over. Onions just go to waste than to try to sell it. And the onions were like, I would say like grapefruits, that huge. Same way with the watermelon, cantaloupes.
So if they didn't sell or the price wasn't right, they would plow them
They'd
under.
plow under.
Plow under, yeah.
Yeah, when we were there, you wanted some watermelon, all you gotta do is throw it on the ground, it's open for you.
So your dad, when he moved to Colton and started raising a family, how many kids did he have? You were the oldest one.
I'm the oldest.
And then?
Pete is 2 years younger,
Okay.
and Danny is, I think, 7 years.
Uh-huh.
younger.
Any sisters?
No, we don't want no sisters.
So just three brothers? Just
Three brothers.
brothers.
I remember my dad asked him one time, he was gonna bring us a sister, he said, well, we don't want no sister. So we didn't have a sister.
So just the three brothers then?
There's 3 brothers. Yeah.
And all of you were raised there on L Street?
All of us were raised in L Street.
Okay, very good. Now, where did you go to school in Colton?
First school I went to was Lincoln Elementary School, where the city hall is.
The present City Hall in Colton?
Yes.
What years did you go there?
Oh my God.
Kindergarten?
I went just for kindergarten. Then I went to grad school, where they parked the buses at the high school. They used to have a school there with 4 rooms.
Right now, they park the buses, they're parking for
Yeah.
the bus at the school district?
Yeah, at that time we used to play war because the war was on.
Uh-huh.
And we'd be at top, we'd go against the enemy around the trees and all. That's what I could play with. But then from there I moved down a couple of blocks, went to Colton Junior High School.
So you went to grad school, elementary school, and then you went to middle school at Roosevelt School.
Mm-hmm. Junior high.
The junior high school?
And then after my 3 years there, I moved across the street to the high school.
So you didn't go too far, really?
For 12 years I went the same way. Same way I went. And the thing is, when I was in junior high, Danny was just starting school, and I had to take him to Grant,
Uh-huh.
to kindergarten. And I Street at that time was Highway 99.
Yes.
And I was supposed to hold his hand as we crossed I Street. And, as a junior high, 7th grade, you don't want no kid holding your hand. So you'd get to I Street, so I reach in and get my hand, and I look around, see who the heck was watching me. So I'd take him across the street, then he'd go all the way up to Grant.
So you were a little embarrassed holding hands with a little kid, eh?
Well, yeah, I didn't want nobody to see me.
Yeah.
I got a little kid hanging on to me.
Can you imagine your friends looking at you?
Oh, yeah.
Kinda picking on you?
They probably would have picked on me. Yeah, it was good. Of course, he tell my mom that I didn't hold his hand.
Uh-huh.
First thing, hey, I hear you did not hold his hand. How come? Your excuse, no excuse that you're going to make us do it any good anyway. You just didn't do it.
Well, were you punished when you got home? Or?
No, they just told me not to do it again. Till the next time, the next day. But I used to take him every day. I'd go home for lunch and I'd bring him, so we go to kindergarten in the afternoon.
Uh-huh.
And I think we brought him back home. But he had to cross only 4 blocks.
Uh-huh.
But the high street was right there.
Uh-huh.
Lots of traffic.
Now, did your dad participate in any activities in Colton, like community activities like los progresistas or
Well,
las
I'll tell
fiestas
you something.
patrias or?
At this time when I was in the 5th grade, they came out with a thing. It's sorry to say that the Mexicans that were there could stay there at Grant School. And they couldn't accept any more Mexicans there. even though we lived in the district. District was 4 blocks away.
Uh-huh.
And so Pete got moved over to Garfield. So he spent at Garfield. My dad, all these years, he was going to school board meetings, took off work, Consul Mexicano, see congressmen, see councilmen, see this and this all over. And all the guys from the water would tell me, hey, what happened, Robert? They wouldn't take off work, but my dad did. You go see somebody that finally let everybody in, back again. And here comes Pete. Pete comes now back, and he's a year behind school now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they had a while there that people that were already there could finish that school, but then there were no new ones coming in.
What grade were you in?
Probably in the fourth or fifth.
Fourth or fifth grade?
Mm-hmm.
And the ruling by the school district was that no more.
No more Mexicans here. Just the ones that are here can finish, but no, they were not going to admit anymore.
And then they sent the other kids to different schools. And
Yeah, they went to Woodrow Wilson.
okay,
And yet people from Aguamansa, you know, Aguamansa is a long ways from the high school.
right.
They were coming from there, and they could go to the white school. It's 3 times far away. And they could come to the school. But we that lived 3 blocks away couldn't go to the school that was right there.
Ah, and your dad was very active in
Oh, yeah.
trying to change that.
He did change. He got in and finally changed it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, somebody wrote a book one time about that. It had to do with the guys that went to the Anglo schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I went to Anglo schools all my life.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I didn't even know that I was Hispanic. I was just a kid, right?
Uh-huh.
And we didn't even know. I mean, all my friends were white. I'd go to their house. They'd come to my house. And, I mean, no discrimination there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to the junior high, everything changed.
How did that change?
It changed because all of a sudden, I lost some friends that were my white friends that I've been to school since kindergarten. And all of a sudden, of course, I knew a lot of people from the Wilson School because for recreation. I go to recreation, they were all there. So I knew a lot of them. In fact, at our reunion, they were kidding me. Everybody was from Woodrow Wilson. And they were calling me a gabacho, a gringo. We had fractions, they didn't because they didn't have teachers over at Wilson. You guys had the best of everything and everything there. And then I mentioned the fact that that I never saw so many Mexicanos come up except when we played basketball against the Wilson. And this little girl, she was a real quiet girl in school. She got up at chin chon, and she goes, "My people come to save me." You know, everybody at the table started laughing. You know, at me. You know, say, "My people come to save me." So I brought this up at my 50th reunion. So they're still kidding me.